Assalamualaikum. Good afternoon for you from the evening class, and then good morning for the morning class. Today class we will discuss about terms of payment for domestic trade. There are CWO, cash of with order, 2 COD, cash on delivery, 3 payment on invoice, HP hire purchase, 5 open account terms, 6 leasing, and then the last is questions for revision. So when deciding on the terms of payment, the seller and the buyer have to agree on one, when to pay. When to pay, the time, or for example in advance or delivery. Number 2, how to pay. For example, cash, check, transfer, debit, and so on. And see how much to pay, whether the seller is prepared to grant any discounts or not. So types of discount. Type of discount we are talking about here is one, bulk quantity discount. The meaning of bulk quantity discount is granted when the buyer orders a large quantity. So for example, the offer is like that. If you order more than 250 units, we'll give you a 10% discount. Or when you buy 2, you get 1 free or something like this is bulk quantity discount. Number 2, early payment discount. Early payment discount is granted when the buyer pays within a certain period of time. So if you pay within 7 days, you can deduct 5% from the price. Number 3, cash discount. Cash discount granted when the buyer pays cash. If you pay cash, we'll give you 2% off. So the term of payment described here are particularly suitable for domestic product. So now we go to the first cash with order or CWO. Here in this situation, the buyer sends payment with his order. So this is the situation between the buyer and the seller. And then the seller, of course, the situation is favorable for him or for her because there is no risk to her not getting payment for the goods. As payment may arrive sometime before the goods are sent out, it also means that she or he can work with the money. But it's different with the seller. For the seller, this kind of order is not favorable for him or her because if the seller is unreliable, he or she might pay for the goods and not get them. And if he or she has to return the goods for any reason, she or he has to make sure that he gets his money or her money back. So because these terms of payment carries a certain risk for the buyer, he will generally only agree to it in certain situation. So if he is doing business for the first time with a reputable company, number 2, if the seller gives him a discount. Number 3, if he places a special expensive order, for example a machine made to specification, where the seller has to problem to dispose of the goods elsewhere. The seller may ask for part payment to be sent with with the order. Before I go to the next step, this is the individual quiz that you have to do this completion for 5 questions as shown here. And then this individual assignment must be sent or submitted for 5A on Friday at 1 o'clock. Remember, 1 o'clock. And then 5B on Thursday, 22 October 2020 at 22:30 p.m. Don't forget. So you can send by email hcramdani@unis.ac.id in PDF with the following name, for example 5A underscore Eli Breyer, or your name, underscore academic year TA 2020-2021. So of course the language is English. So please don't forget. The second thing is cash on delivery, or COD. What does COD mean? Okay, the buyer pays the company which delivers the goods, for example, the post office or the carrier, at the time they are delivered. The payment is then transferred to the seller. So this is also opinion from the seller and the buyer. Of course, the seller here too, he think that the risk is of him or her not being paid is minimal, and even if the buyer refuses to accept delivery and pay, so he or she doesn't lose the goods. But the buyer here, she or he no longer run the risk of not receiving goods he paid for or she paid for. The main disadvantage for her or for him is that I don't have the chance, or she or he doesn't have the chance to inspect the goods before paying for them. So this is advantage and disadvantage for the seller and the buyer. So the companies which don't know anything about the financial standing of their customers, so for example, mail order companies, prefer to use this term of payment. Of course, they prefer to have this kind of payment.